Growing up in Pakistan, my family was considered middle class, but that didn't mean that we were living a life of luxury. My parents, especially my dad, worked extremely hard to provide for our family, and I was taught the value of money from a very young age. I remember watching my dad stretch every single rupee to make sure that it goes as far as possible and nothing goes to waste. Every single thing had to be accounted for, because my dad didn't just have to support our family, but his parents as well, my grandparents, because we're all living under the exact same roof as we do in ethnic households. Now, as a child, I didn't really understand any of this. I thought it's completely normal to always go for the cheapest option, always haggle over the smallest of prices, always being overly frugal. It's just how you have to be. I thought to myself, this is completely normal. This is exactly what you have to do to have a roof over your head, to have food to eat, and so on and so on. Okay, fair enough. But that all changed when we packed up everything and moved to Australia. I was 8 years old at the time, and this is where the real struggle began. It was an extremely difficult transition for all of us initially. We barely knew anyone here, apart from just one relative who we kindly stayed with initially so we could get back up on our feet. Everything was a lot more expensive. Our rupees barely had any purchasing power. The cost of living in Sydney is sky high. You guys know the drill, and since then it definitely hasn't improved. My dad was unemployed initially, obviously, so we were basically burning through our savings. The language barrier was a big issue as well. We could speak English, but it wasn't good English. It was broken English at best. My dad did manage to get a job eventually after countless applications. He was working 2 to 3 jobs at a time. So because of that, eventually we were able to move out and start renting on our own. Growing up in the initial years, I barely got to see my dad. He would work super long hours, he would leave super early and come super late. I wouldn't see him in the morning at all, only at night for a little bit before I had to go to sleep for school the next day. He would of course work weekends as well, and this went on for years and years. For myself, as I was growing up, I started to realize that I don't even think that we're middle class. I think we're definitely below that, given the lifestyle that we were living after coming here. The lifestyle after moving here initially changed to needs only, barely any wants. We cut down on eating out to completely zero after moving here. There were no more birthday gifts every single year. We were lucky to get a Aldi mud cake for $5 if we were fortunate enough, but if not, it was homemade cake that was gonna do the job. I got all my haircuts at home, courtesy of my dad's amateur hairdressing skills to cut down on costs. The only holidays that we took were trips to Pakistan every couple of years after saving money to go see our friends, family, and relatives, and that's basically it. I specifically remember always hesitating asking my dad for some money. There used to be this really cool convention that used to happen a couple of years ago called EB Games Expo, basically a games convention. All of my mates were going. I wanted to be the one to join them as well. The tickets cost like 70 bucks, and I remember really hesitating and feeling bad asking my dad for some money to buy this ticket, because I knew deep down that this money could be used for better things, and it is just for my own personal thing that I'm asking this money for, and there's definitely better uses for it. So that made me feel really, really bad. Coming into my late teens, all of this made me realize that I really need to find a way to make money, and lots of it. It may sound pretty shallow to even talk about this or admit this, but I think deep down inside, we do want to make sure that we are financially secure, our families are financially secure, that we can go and buy things without having to second guess everything, and having money being the center point of every single thing, every single consideration moving forward. I think sometimes we want to just have a bit of comfort. And given my upbringing and moving to Australia and seeing how tough every single person in my family has had it at certain times, I didn't ever want to worry about that ever again. I don't always want money being the center point of every single decision that we make moving forward. No matter how cheap or expensive something is, sometimes you just want to be able to spend without thinking and just having comfort. I've seen how hard my parents have worked, the sacrifice and the pain that they've endured. Massive respect to them, but personally, I don't ever want to be in that type of position. All the hard work and sacrifice, I want to basically build upon that and have a solid foundation so myself, my parents, and anyone that comes after me, like my kids, don't ever have to be in that position ever again. Don't get me wrong, I certainly do want to work hard and put in the effort, but I want it to be a choice. I don't want it to be the only option that I've got. I'm fortunate that whatever happened to me and my family could have been a lot worse, and there are certainly people out there that are having it more tougher than I am. I'm also fortunate that I didn't really develop any crazy spending habits as a byproduct of my upbringing. I went more towards the opposite side, which is the extremely frugal side. So based on that, saving is something which I had always done, but when it comes to building your wealth, you do have to go one step further, which is investing, which is the next step. Savings by themselves simply just don't cut it. Through a lot of different mistakes and strategies which I've discussed in this video right here, I found an investing strategy that works for me. I am by no means where I want to be, but I am taking progress to eventually get there. I've got an actual path forward rather than just saving aimlessly and just hoping that things work out. I'm genuinely quite optimistic about the future and where things are going, and I think when it comes to everyday people, investing is the only real way that you can build wealth. Yes, you can start a business, but for everyday people that are working a job, that have bills to pay, that have family to look after, starting a business is extremely difficult, so investing is the other way to go. Whether you invest in the property market or the stock market, it's important to get started. I don't invest in the property market as yet, so I can't really comment too much on that. But when it comes to the stock market, that is what I do. And if you are looking to get started, check out this beginner playlist right here, which goes through everything that you need to know, some important information here as well. So go check it out. And guys, thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.